Welcome to the lesson, What are behavioral adaptations? In this lesson, you'll learn about the difference between instinctive and learned behavior in animals. The vocabulary words for this lesson are behavior, learned behavior, instinct, migrate, and hibernate. Click each word to find out more about it.
I'm going to click on them and read the definitions to you, and then tomorrow I'm going to film a video of me filling out the vocabulary definitions on that workbook page that you have in your book, well, not in your book, in your packet of work. So I'm not going to go through it really slow because you don't need to write anything today.
Behavior. The way that an organism usually acts in a certain situation.
Okay, so that's behavior, instinct.
Instinct. An inherited behavior of an animal that helps it meet its needs.
Then we have hibernates.
Hibernate. To go into a deep, sleep-like state for winter.
Learned behaviors.
Learned behavior. A behavior that an animal doesn't begin life with, but develops as a result of experience or by observing other animals.
And we'll see examples of instincts and learned behaviors as we go through the rest of the slides. And the last one is migrate.
Migrate. To travel from one place to another and back again.
This slide has not been working for me, so I'm going to refresh it one more time and see if it lets me look at it.
After spending A hummingbird is a tiny bird. It beats its wings 70 times a second. This takes a lot of energy, so hummingbirds eat constantly. They drink nectar from many flowers. Scientists think that to survive, hummingbirds learn to remember which flowers they have drunk from and when each flower will be full of nectar again.
Alright, so one of the things that the hummingbirds have that's the behavior that helps them to survive is that remembering that they drank the nectar out of this flower and it had a lot of nectar in it, so that they want to go back to that flower again the next time they're in that area to make sure that they are getting enough food to survive, because they have to use a lot of energy by flapping their wings.
A behavior is the way an animal acts in certain situations. Some behaviors are instincts. The animal has inherited them. That means the animal was born knowing how to behave this way. Some behaviors are learned behaviors, actions the animal has learned. Animals learn behaviors by watching other animals or by trying behaviors. Click each picture to learn more.
So the first one is bees.
Honeybees tell other bees where to find a food source. They communicate both the direction and distance of the food. They tell this information through a special figure-8 dance. This dance is an instinctive behavior of the honeybees.
So an instinctive behavior is something that they know how to do when they're born. So nobody teaches them the dance, they already know it.
Young mallard ducks follow their mothers. This is an instinctive behavior. Instinctive behaviors happen naturally. They do not have to be learned. Some other instinctive behaviors are gathering and storing food, defending oneself, raising young, and making shelter.
Then this one is the chimp.
Animals develop behaviors by watching other animals or by trying the behaviors. Young chimps learn how to get food by watching adults take the bark off a twig and use it to gather ants. Later, the young chimps prepare their own sticks to get insects.
Then the spider.
Spiders are born knowing how to spin webs. They do not need another spider to teach them this instinctive behavior.
And a dog.
Learned behaviors can be taught. Usually parents teach their young the behaviors needed to survive, such as hunting or defending themselves. Some people teach their pets desirable behaviors. This dog is learning how to shake hands with its paw to receive a treat.
And a blue jay.
Learned behaviors can also be developed through experience. A blue jay learns to avoid eating monarch butterflies after eating the first one makes the blue jay sick.
So, excuse me, the learned behaviors are things that they're taught or they figure out later on in life. So something that you have that was a learned behavior is eating food with a fork and a knife. You didn't know how to do that as a baby. Or walking, you had to learn by watching other people and having people teach you how to walk, or riding your bike the same way. So there are things that you didn't already know how to do. Some instinctive behaviors you have are coughing or breathing. Nobody taught you how to breathe. You came straight out of when you were born and knew exactly how to breathe to keep yourself alive. So the same things go for animals. They do the same things that humans do, where they have to learn things from their adults or other animals, or they have some things that they already knew how to do before anyone taught them.
For animals to survive, they must eat and have a place to live or shelter. Different animals have different needs. Some animals eat seeds and others eat meat. Some live in nests and others live underground. Each type of animal has its own behaviors for finding food and for finding or making shelters or homes. Click each picture to learn more. Animals have different ways for finding food. They also have their own ways to tell others where the food is. To get their food, these ants follow the scent trail left by other ants.
And there's a squirrel.
Animal behaviors include storing food. Mice, squirrels, and beavers store food for the winter. Moray eels often hide in small cave-like holes in a coral reef or under rocks. From their hiding places, they can pop out and grab food. Many bats live in caves or hollow trees. This keeps them away from light during the day. They hang upside down by hooking their feet into cracks they find in the cave or inside the tree. This behavior helps keep the bats safe from animals that might harm them while they sleep.
And then we'll move on to the next page.
You have learned about both instinctive behaviors and learned behaviors. Which behavior is instinctive? Click the correct answer.
Okay, so the options are shaking hands, eating with a fork, using a twig to catch termites, or chicks following their mother. So which one is something that wasn't taught? This last one, chicks following their mother. Remember, they just know how to do that right away. They follow their mother where she goes so that they don't get lost.
That's right. A chick following its mother is an example of instinctive behavior. An instinctive behavior is a behavior that animals are born with. Baby chicks follow their mother without being taught. But chimps must learn how to use twigs to catch termites. A dog needs to learn how to shake hands, and people need to learn how to eat with a fork. When animals hibernate, their bodies slow down and they appear to be asleep for a long time. They might even look as if they're dead. To prepare for hibernation, animals must eat and eat and eat. All this eating gives them a special kind of fat that is used as energy at the end of hibernation. Click each highlighted area to learn more. Animals such as ground squirrels, western diamondback rattlesnakes, and some bats hibernate in the winter. This ground squirrel prepares for hibernation by eating a lot. When an animal hibernates, its body temperature drops and its breathing slows. Adult ground squirrels may begin to hibernate as early as July. The males come out of hibernation in March or April and claim their homes and the surrounding land. Females come out of hibernation a couple of weeks later.
And then protection.
The den or burrow protects the hibernating ground squirrel. Because the burrow is underground, it is warmer, and it is hard for snow to get inside. Animals that want to eat the ground squirrel may have trouble finding the burrow or getting in the opening.
Okay, next page.
When an animal migrates, it travels from one place to another. Then later it returns to where it started. Animals migrate for different reasons. They migrate to meet a need they have. Click each image to find out more about migration.
So then we have these geese.
Have you ever seen geese flying? They could be migrating. In the north, when the weather turns cold, geese migrate south to find warmer places where the grasses they eat are growing and plentiful. When the weather becomes too warm, they return to where they came from.
Butterflies.
During the winter, many butterflies stay in their region as larvae or pupas. The monarch butterfly is an example of a butterfly that migrates, traveling up to 4,300 kilometers to find warmer climates.
Elephants.
In some places, it rains for months at a time. Some animals, such as these elephants, migrate to follow the rains because there is more food where there is plenty of rain.
And crabs.
Some animals, such as red crabs, migrate from land to lay their eggs in the ocean where their eggs can hatch. After laying eggs, the crabs return to their burrows on land.
Okay. And
Some animals need to hibernate during the winter and end their hibernation when the weather is better. Some animals migrate to meet their needs. They will travel to a place where they can find food, water, and shelter. Then later they will return. Which animals hibernate and which animals migrate? Sort the animals.
so remember, hibernation is when they sleep during the winter. So bears hibernate, squirrels hibernate, rattlesnakes hibernate, and the brown bat hibernates. And then migration is animals that travel over distances to get food, warmer weather, or to lay eggs. So the red crabs migrate to lay their eggs, elephants migrate to find food, geese migrate to warmer weather, and caribou migrate to warmer weather and
The
find
ground
food.
squirrel, rattlesnake, big brown bat, and grizzly bear all hibernate. Their body temperatures drop and their breathing slows. Geese, elephants, red crabs, and caribou all migrate. They travel to a new place temporarily to find a better climate, more food, or a good place to lay eggs or give birth. Notice what these animals are doing. Which images show behaviors that are learned? There may be more than one.
So the bees dancing, is that a learned behavior or an instinct? Following your mother, is that a learned behavior, an instinct? Jumping over a bar for a horse, is that a learned behavior or an instinct? And a bear fishing, learned behavior or instinct?
You got it. A horse jumping over a bar is a behavior learned from a human. That's right. A bear fishing in a river is an example of behavior learned from an adult. Animals learn some behaviors by watching other animals or by trying the behavior. These are learned behaviors. If an animal is born knowing a behavior, then that behavior is an instinct. Young ducklings following their mothers and bees dancing to tell other bees where the food is are examples of instincts. You've learned a lot about behavior, instincts, learned behavior, hibernation, and migration. Let's take a quick look at the main points you covered. Animals are born knowing some behaviors. These behaviors are called instincts. These ducks follow their mother by instinct. Some behaviors have to be learned. This dog has learned to shake hands. It is trained through experience and watching its trainer. Some animals hibernate. They seem like they are asleep and wake up when the weather is better for finding food. Some animals migrate to find what they need. They may need to find a warmer climate and food. They may need a good place to lay eggs. Later, they will migrate back to where they came from. Now that you've finished this lesson, if you wish, you can go back and review any part of the lesson again.
And that is all you have to do today. Tomorrow you need to find your lesson 6 notes page and we will fill that out together. Otherwise, you're finished with science for the day. I will talk to you tomorrow.